Korea's real GDP fell by 0.2% in the first quarter of 2025 as political turmoil and the impact of the second Trump administration on global trade curbed consumer spending.
정치적 불확실성 및 미국 트럼프 2기 행정부의 관세 정책 영향으로 소비 심리가 위축되면서 올해 1분기 우리나라 실질 국내 총생산 GDP가 지난해 4분기보다 0.2% 감소했습니다.
Yeah, not the way that we wanted to start the year in terms of the economy, right?
It's been going that way for a while now.
It has.
Yeah.
The Korean economy and pretty much the global economy has been in this prolonged sort of slump for the time being. But this 0.2% contraction is actually 0.4 percentage points lower than what the central bank had forecast just 2 months ago in February. In February, the forecast was a 0.2% expansion, but it actually fell 0.2%. And it's the first time it's turned negative since the second quarter of last year when it contracted the same amount. So back in 2024, the Q2 of that, there was this base effect where there was this unexpected growth in Q1, the previous quarter, of 1.3%. But this time around, it's just a complete shock here for central bank officials and economists overall.
베이스 팩트는 기저효과라고 해가지고 기존의 베이스 기준이 무엇이 되느냐에 따라 그 다음에 이제 뭐 감소 혹은 뭐 증가의 퍼센티지가 많이 달라질 수 있는 걸 얘기하는데 그걸 떠나서 지금 계속해서 우리가 어떤 이제 GDP 감소를 쭉 보고 있는 우려스러운 상황입니다.
Yeah, the expectation was that exports, which sort of rebounded, would help the economy, but other things like the domestic situation, political situation in Korea, as well as external effects like the U.S. trade tariffs that have been in the news as of late, as well as disasters like the wildfires that hit the southeast here sort of chilled the economy. So that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah, what's political turmoil though, Shane?
Yeah, so turmoil would be sort of havoc or chaos when things are not stable. And that's sort of how you would describe the political situation in Korea the past 4 or 5 months, right?
그럼 정치적인 혼란 이렇게 해석을 해도 되겠네요. 물론 그냥 political situation이라고만 해도 우리가 지금 정치적인 상황이 어떤지를 아니까 이해가 되겠지만 구체적으로 turmoil, turmoil, 혼란이라는 단어를 쓰고 있고요. And to curb something, what does that mean?
Yeah, when you curb something as a verb, you're restraining or you're controlling or limiting something. So here in the headline, we talked about curbing consumer spending because of the U.S. tariffs. That means people are not opening up their wallets as much.
Yeah. curb라는 것은 억제한다라는 의미가 있어요. When you're on a diet,
Yes.
which is, I'm constantly on a diet.
Oh, so am I,
You
yeah.
have to curb your eating habits.
Caloric intake.
Caloric intake.
Yeah.
Curb your calories then, I suppose. Yeah,
Yeah, curb calories. And this word sort of gets me thinking because curb as a noun is sort of the territory between the street and the sidewalk.
Yeah.
But I think in Korean you say 거북길, but that's actually curve, right? That's a
그건
different
다른
word.
커브네요.
Yes.
커브길 할 때는 curve. 근데 지금 말하는 건 curb.여서 이게 이제 물리적으로는 원래 뭐냐면은 인도와 차도 사이에 있는 이 턱 같은 거. 그걸 curve라고 하는데 동사로서는 뭔가 제한하거나 억제하거나 할 때 많이 쓰죠. 다시 한번 제가 읽어보겠습니다. Korea's real GDP fell by 0.2% in the first quarter of 2025 as political turmoil and the impact of the second Trump administration on global trade curbed consumer spending. Let's move on to the next headline.
A legal basis has been established in Korea to allow dog and cat owners to bring their furry companions into pet-friendly restaurants that meet specific sanitary and safety standards.
앞으로 국내에서 일정 수준의 위생 및 안전 관리 기준을 준수한 음식점에 한해 반려견과 반려묘 출입을 허용하는 법적 근거가 마련됐습니다.
Yeah, so for pet lovers out there,
Yeah.
myself included, the Ministry of Food and Drug Safety is recommending revision to the nation's Food Sanitation Act to allow dogs and cats to come into restaurants that meet certain criteria. And
Exactly.
these criteria include things like fences that have been set up or installed to block access from dogs or cats entering the kitchen or sort of food storage
Yeah.
areas.
You don't want them to run around everywhere.
No, you do not. And also chairs exclusively for animals and fixtures where leashes can be attached. And restaurants also need to put up notices to advise customers that pets are welcome in their establishment. So not just yet, but
Right.
this revision is taking place. And one more important one, which should be taking place anyways, is that dogs or cats need to be vaccinated.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not just the restaurants and the facilities that need to take the necessary safety precautions,
Yeah.
but the animals themselves need to have been vaccinated.
But in general, pet owners should be vaccinating their pets as it is.
Indeed. All right, our first expression here is furry companion.
Yeah, so we talked about dogs and cats, and like you always mention in English, we don't like to repeat things in headlines. So this is a euphemism, right? A
Right.
euphemism for another way to say dogs and cats. So something that's furry. It's sort of an informal way to talk about a pet.
You don't say hairy though, do you?
No, you do not, because
So-
animals don't have hair.
Right.
Animals have fur.
So I think in Korean they might be similar. hairy, 뭐 이렇게 좀 숱이 많다. 그다음에 furry는 털이 많다.
Yes.
근데 이제 비슷해 보이지만 좀 달라요. 동물한테는 furry, F-U-R-R-Y, furry를 쓰지 hairy를 쓰지 않고요. hairy는 언제 쓰냐면 사람한테 예를 들자면은 I have hairy legs. 이렇게 다리에 털이 많아요. 털은 털인데 조금 달라요. 쓰임새가 영어에서는. 그죠?
털보 아저씨, you would call
그때는
a hairy
hairy.
man.
맞아요.
Right.
근데 동물은 다 furry라고
Yes.
하고 느낌이 좀 좋아요. furry 하면은. 근데 hairy는 뭔가 좀 느낌이 이상해 느낌이
So,
있어요.
so animals don't have hair. They have
맞아요.
fur, right?
그렇습니다. 네네.
And what I always thought was interesting, speaking of pets, is when you teach them tricks,
Yeah.
in Korean you say 손.
Oh yeah.
But I thought dogs only have legs. They don't really have
그러게.
hands. But
영어로는 그냥
You say paw,
paw라
right?
그래요.
Yeah.
P-A-W, paw. 그냥 they have 4 paws, right?
yeah, you could say Milky, 손. And then Milky will
그러니까요.
be like, I don't have any 손s. I only have legs.
네, 모르시는 분들은 우리 모닝 스페셜의 마스코트 격인 우리
Yes.
피디님의 강아지 밀키가 있는데 우리는 이제 강아지 네 발이라고도 하기도 하고 그냥 손을 내밀어라고 하기도 하지만
Yeah.
영어에서 아예 hand하고 feet라는 표현을 안 쓰고 PAW, paws라고 하는데
Yeah.
고양이도 마찬가지인가요?
Well, I don't think cats will give you their paws.
고양이는
because
아예 내밀지
cats don't
않아요.
listen to you. Yeah, they do whatever they want. Yeah.
알겠습니다. 네. 우문현답이네요. 그래서 furry companion 그러면은 털이 많은 우리 동물 친구들. 우리는 이제 반려동물이라고 이미 말을 하고 있죠. 우리말로는. 영어에서는 그냥 다 pet라고 하는데 이렇게 좀 다르게 표현할 수 있다라는 거고.
Yeah, you can have other companions as
Sure,
well, right?
sure.
They don't have to be animals or pets. Just something that comforts you, I think, besides
Yes,
you. Yeah.
맞아요. 뭐 동료 이런 느낌도 좀 있고. 네.
My wife is my
동지.
companion.
네, 그런 느낌도 있습니다. What about sanitary standards?
Yeah, sanitary standards. Standards would be sort of rules or requirements,
Yeah.
laws, right? And sanitary standards would be sort of the level of cleanliness and healthiness maintained in a specific area or establishment.
네, 위생이라는 의미가 있죠. sanitary. 자, 그래서 sanitary standards는 위생 기준. 다시 읽어보겠습니다. A legal basis has been established in Korea to allow dog and cat owners to bring their furry companions into pet-friendly restaurants that meet specific sanitary and safety standards.
Pope Francis has been eulogized as, quote, a pope among the people with an open heart towards everyone, end quote, during a funeral mass that brought 400,000 mourners to Rome, from refugees to royalty.
난민부터 왕족에 이르는 40만 명의 조문객이 운집한 가운데 프란치스코 교황의 장례 미사가 열렸습니다. 이 자리에서 그는 모든 이에게 마음을 연 민중의 교황이라는 찬사를 받았습니다.
Yeah, the world's eyes were in, of course, the Vatican for
Yeah.
the funeral of the late Pope Francis, who died last Monday of stroke and subsequent heart failure. This was probably the largest sort of security and logistical operation in Italy since, coincidentally, the funeral of Pope John Paul II back in 2005. But thousands of people gathered in the Vatican. More than 2,000 journalists were there. It was a 90-minute mass, more than 200 cardinals, 750 bishops, and 4,000 priests, as well as dignitaries from all over the world, including U.S. President Trump, French President Macron, UK Prime Minister Starmer, et cetera, were all on hand to watch this moment as, the Pope Francis's body was placed in a wooden coffin at his request, which was very modest, which was very sort of indicative of how he lived his life. And he now lays in rest outside St. Peter's Basilica, which hasn't happened in over a century, I think. And again, goes to show that he wants to be among the people, right?
Yeah, absolutely. A eulogy is in Korean 추도 연설. But we have the verb form here, to eulogize.
Yeah. And
what does that mean?
In our headline, it's written in the British spelling.
Right.
The American spelling would use a Z instead of an S. But
Yeah.
to eulogize someone is to praise someone very highly. It can be in speech or in writing, and usually after their death. And this is usually seen in funeral ceremonies in the West, oftentimes.
Absolutely. But a eulogy doesn't always have to be for someone that's died. It could be for someone who's retired
Sure.
as well, because you're praising them. 그래서 칭송하다라는 동사 EULOGISE 하셔도 되고요. ZE 하셔도 됩니다. 북미권에서는 Z를 쓰고요. 보통 유럽에서는 S를 많이 쓰는데 스펠링은 상관없이 이제 발음 똑같이 eulogize. 칭송하다라는 의미인데 이제 돌아가신 지 얼마 안 된 분에 대한 그런 칭송하는 것이 될 수도 있고 은퇴한 지 얼마 안 된 분에 대해서도 이렇게 할 수도 있고요. 보통 근데 eulogy는 추도 연설이라는 의미로 많이 씁니다.
Do we see this in Korean funerals? I don't think there's a specific
No,
sort
I
of
guess not.
opportunity for someone to come up and speak on someone's behalf. My brother-in-law who passed away last year, we had a funeral in the U.S. And it's almost like a wedding in a way that it's a formal ceremony where people gather and you have people come up and speak and really remember the person's life, right?
Yeah, I think the funeral culture is very different.
Sure, absolutely.
Here in
Every
Korea,
culture is different.
Right.
Yeah.
Instead of having one ceremony and everyone gathering at a certain period of time, it's more spread out in Korea, isn't it? So it's
Yeah.
several days, normally at a hospital, and people can come and go whenever they're free. And then there's this final ceremony, maybe just among family members.
Sure, or close friends, right?
Yeah, it's a little bit different.
Yeah, and oftentimes the funeral home is attached to hospitals, like you
Yes,
said. But in the U.S., for example, funeral homes, they're separate sort of establishments.
Indeed. And in movies, I'm sure a lot of people will have seen people gathering in front of the actual grave, which is not common in Korea, I don't think. People won't actually go to the grave itself, but the funeral houses at the hospitals.
Right, and that usually happens after all the ceremonies are held at the funeral home. They're laid to rest at their final resting place at a cemetery, if you're going to bury them.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And laid to rest is another useful expression when it comes to funerals. People mourn.
Yes.
So we have mourners.
Mourners.
Yeah.
So these are people who attend a funeral, usually as a relative or a friend or just someone who knew. In this case, we were all friends of Pope Francis in a way, right?
Exactly.
Another way to say it is the bereaved, right? People, if you bereave someone, that means you're remembering them after their death.
Yep.
And if you want to call that person, you call them the bereaved, because it's an adjective. So you can say bereaved family members, but the bereaved remembered the person's passing, for example.
The bereaved는 이제 보통 유족이나 아니면은 그런 이제 사별을 당한 분들 얘기하고요. bereaved.
Yeah.
그다음에 mourning. 여기서는 이제 우리 아침에 그 mourning이 아니고요. mourning. mourning. 이제 애도하는 걸 말합니다.
Yeah.
그래서 mourner는 M-O-U-R-N-E-R, 조문객이 되겠습니다.
Right. If there's a national tragedy, for example, the president may declare, for example, a 7-day period of mourning.
That's right. Exactly. 애도 주간이 되겠죠. 그럴 때는. 자, 다시 한번 헤드라인 제가 읽어보겠습니다. Pope Francis has been eulogized as a pope among the people with an open heart towards everyone during a funeral mass that brought 400,000 mourners to Rome from refugees to royalty. Let's move on to the next headline.
An almost overlooked fossil in a Brazilian museum has revealed the oldest known ant, a 113 million-year-old species that lived among dinosaurs and used a unique method to kill its prey.
브라질의 한 박물관이 보유하고 있던 화석 표본 속에서 역대 가장 오래된 고대 개미 종이 발견됐습니다. 이 개미는 공룡이 존재하던 약 1억 1,300만 년 전에 살았으며 독특한 사냥법을 갖고 있던 것으로 알려졌습니다.
Yeah, so this fossil was discovered almost by chance by this researcher who was examining this fossil collection at a museum. It's one of the world's largest collections of fossilized insects in Brazil. But this fossil was preserved in limestone. And this sort of extinct insect was known as a, quote, hell ant, and it lived about 66 to about 45 million years ago. And it's not really related to any ant today, but it could give us more information on how it survived that period where dinosaurs became extinct, but these ants did not. And it also had some wasp-like characteristics, so they share a common ancestry between ants and wasps as we know them today.
우연히 발견이 됐다. This was discovered by chance라는 표현도 쓰셨는데요. It was almost overlooked.
Yeah, because it was sitting in the museum,
Yeah.
And nobody had noticed it initially. So when you overlook something, you don't notice something, you fail to recognize it, right?
거의 사람들이 못 보고 그냥 지나칠 뻔했다. It was almost overlooked. And overlook is one word.
And there's another meaning, there's a literal meaning. If something overlooks something, you have a view from above. So the balcony overlooks a beautiful garden, for example, right?
위에서 아래를 내려다 볼 때도 쓸 수 있는 표현이기는 하네요. 그래요. 이 이제 가장 오래된 이 개미 종, 그 화석이 발견이 된 거고요.
Or there's another meaning, excuse me, there. When you forgive or ignore something on
Yeah.
purpose, you overlook it. So if your child
right,
makes a mistake, you can just say, the parent can overlook the fact that the child was misbehaving.
잘못했지만 내가 이번엔 그냥 좀 넘어갈게 할 때도 I will overlook your behavior.
Yeah. So many meanings of overlook.
그래요. Well, this particular ant lived among dinosaurs.
Yeah. So if you live among something, you're residing or existing within a particular group, right? So it lived among dinosaurs. So it lived with them at the same time.
맞아요. 자, 그래서 뭐뭐에 둘러싸여서 살다, 뭐뭐과 함께 살다라는 얘기인데 공룡이 살던 시대에 같이 살았던 개미입니다. 근데 이제 닉네임이 Hell Ant, 지옥개미이고요. 그다음에 이제 생김새는 날개가 이렇게 선명하게 보여요. 이렇게 오래됐는데도 그 미세한 날개가 좀 보이는 정도고, 그래서 아까 말씀해주신 것처럼 약간 그 말벌하고 그다음에 개미 사이 정도가 되는 요 느낌이 있습니다. 자, 다시 한번 제가 읽어볼게요. An almost overlooked fossil in a Brazilian museum has revealed the oldest known ant, a 113 million-year-old species that lived among dinosaurs and used a unique method to kill its prey. prey는 여기서 먹잇감이죠. 자, 이어서 마지막 헤드라인 가보겠습니다.
Archaeologists have found the first physical evidence of combat between Roman gladiators and animals, thanks to bite marks on a skeleton found in a gladiator cemetery in England.
영국에 있는 고대 로마 검투사 묘지에서 맹수에 물린 자국이 있는 유골이 발견됐습니다. 이는 검투사와 이들 동물 사이의 싸움이 실제로 있었다는 최초의 물리적 증거로 보입니다. We've heard many stories about gladiators fighting animals. Of course, gladiators fought other gladiators too, but, this is the first time we actually have proof of gladiator versus animal.
Yeah, apparently. So this skeleton was discovered outside the city of York in the UK, among other sort of skeletons that were discovered. And it's presumed that it came from about the 3rd century. These bodies were dated about 1st to early 2nd century, all the way to the late 4th century. But the skeleton had bite marks from a big feline, either a lion or a tiger. So this is evidence, what scientists believe, is that the gladiators, like we always thought, fought animals in these sort of big events, spectacles.
Although it doesn't say it in the headline, it only says bite marks. We're not talking about human bite marks, as you just mentioned there.
Right.
It was bite marks obviously by a big cat. 좀 큰 고양이과의 동물이 물었을 그런 이제 문 자국이 발견이 된 것이고요. 추정하건대 아마 사자 정도는 되지 않았을까. 굉장히 큰 자국이기 때문에 이렇게 보여진다고 합니다.
Yeah, and to offer more evidence that possibly these people were fighting animals was that all the skeletons that were discovered were male, and there were younger males aged between 18 and 45, which of course you can sort of date back based on skeletal examinations.
Yeah.
But and these men hailed from all parts of the Roman Empire. So what we imagine with gladiators and how their culture back in the day, this is sort of evidence of that.
Exactly. It's physical evidence, right?
Yeah, exactly. So physical evidence would be tangible sort of evidence, objects, materials. Usually at a crime scene, we talk about this, right? Like fingerprints, hair, DNA, actual evidence that you can sort of tie two things together.
물리적인 증거를 physical evidence라고 합니다. 우리 과학 과목 중에 물리를 physics라고 하고요. 그다음에 체육은 이제 어쨌든 이제 몸을 움직이는 것이기 때문에 우리 물리적으로 하는 거라서 physical education이라고 표현을 하는데 줄여서 그냥 PE라고 하죠. 자, physical evidence가 이번에 이렇게 발견이 됐고, this was from a skeleton found in a gladiator cemetery.
Cemetery, and more sort of death-related terms here.
Yeah.
Cemetery is the burial ground, right? Where overall where people are buried. You can call it a graveyard as well, and that's where they discovered this. It wasn't a formal cemetery, or it may have been back in the day, but these days in Korea, a lot of times I'm seeing people cremating remains of the deceased more, and so where you place the remains of cremated remains are crematory instead of a cemetery or a crematorium, you can call it as well.
네. 지금 얘기한 거는 이제 화장터가 되겠습니다. 화장 하는 해서 여기 안치가 되는 곳은 영어로 crematorium, 화장하는 것을 cremating이라고 하거든요. 근데 그게 아니라 지금 여기서는 cemetery입니다. 그래서 묘지, C-E-M-E-T-E-R-Y, cemetery 이렇게 발음할 수도 있고요. 자, 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. Archaeologists have found the first physical evidence of combat between Roman gladiators and animals thanks to bite marks on a skeleton found in a gladiator cemetery in England. Well, that's it for the headlines with our newscaster Shane Ham.
Korea's national health insurance deficit reached a 10-year high of 11.4 trillion won in 2024, remaining in the red since 2015.
건강보험의 보험료 수지가 2015년 이후 계속 적자인 가운데 지난해에는 적자 규모가 최근 10년 사이 가장 큰 11조 4천억 원에 달한 것으로 나타났습니다. Tell us more.
Yes, so we've got this data from the National Health and Insurance Service, and it shows that the insurance premium revenue was at 83.95 trillion won last year, but expenditures for insurance payments were at 95.25 trillion won, giving us this deficit. And a deficit is not new news. We've been in the red, we've been in deficit since 2015, but the gap between the revenue and the expenditure is 4.6 times larger than the year before. Than 2015. Excuse me.
Than 10 years ago.
Yeah, so we've grown a lot in that time in terms of debt. However, when we add in the government subsidies, we've actually got a surplus.
Right.
So the good news is with the government subsidies, it's not a deficit, but without them, we are in deficit.
네, 그래요. 그러니까 지난 10년 동안의 데이터를 쭉 보게 되면은 2015년에 비해서 작년 보험료 수지 적자 규모가 거의 5배에 달했다. 이렇게 좀 분석을 할 수 있을 것 같습니다. 그렇지만 지금 얘기한 것처럼 이제 국고 지원으로 인해서 전반적으로는 또 적자가 아니지만 이제 그걸 빼고 봤을 때는 지난 10년 가량 계속 적자를 기록하고 있네요. 이 적자라는 표현을 먼저 좀 보고 싶은데 we're in the red.
Oh, yes. No business wants to be in the red. They want to be in the black.
Yeah.
Because if you're in the black, you're in profit, you're making money. And if you're in the red, you're in debt. You're in the negative. So if you find yourself in the red, like in this case, it means you're losing money or you're losing more money than you're making.
그렇죠. 적자다라는 의미를 살려서 이제 우리도 빨간색 그 적이 들어가는 것처럼 영어에서도 be in the red. 흑자일 때는 be in the black 이렇게 표현하기도 하고요. 물론 한 단어로도 표현할 수 있습니다. 적자, deficit, 흑자, surplus라는 단어들도 따로따로 있죠. I remember when I was studying accounting a long time ago in my uni years.
Yeah.
My professor actually recommended that we write the actual minus figures in red.
Yes.
So she said, and this was while I was studying in Australia. What was her name? Jacqueline Burke, I think she was. And she said, since you're going to write everything down anyway, and just to make things clearer, why don't you write everything that's minus in a red pen, in red color. And we did that. And so you could actually see it. And this was way before the days of, those electronic pads and whatever, people use these days. You can probably still do the red and black with that. But I actually had a pen, black pen and a red pen.
Well, it makes sense because it's much easier then to highlight the losses, to highlight the negatives, because nobody wants negatives in their business.
Exactly. Okay, and when we talk about a high...
Yeah, meaning it's a new record, in this case for 10 years, a 10-year high, meaning it's the highest it's been during this 10-year period.
최고치를 영어로 명사 high로 표현할 수 있는데요. 앞에 관사를 붙여요. 그래서 a high. 근데 이제 그 가운데는 이제 10년 만에 가장 높은 수치다라는 의미로 a 10-year high. You could also talk about a really, really low figure.
Yes.
Say a 10-year low.
Yeah, so you'll often hear the terms high or low used. Record highs, record lows. Those are also very common expressions in the news.
And you hear that in the weather as well, don't you?
Yeah, we have a record low temperature for April or a record high temperature for December.
Yeah, exactly. 아니면 그냥 오늘의 최고 기온, 오늘의 최저 기온 얘기하면서 이제 최고, 최저를 여기서는 S 보통 많이 붙여요. 일기예보 할 때는. 왜 그러냐면은 도시가 너무 많으니까 하나가 아니라서 그래서 복수 형태로 the highs today will range between 20 and 25 and the lows will range between minus 10 and 0.
What?
It's not true. This is just an example.
I didn't bring a coat, Sue.
It's just an example.
Okay.
그래서 the highs will range between A and B and the lows will come between A and B. 이렇게.
Yeah, we can also talk about in terms of life, the highs and lows of your life, the good parts and the bad parts.
That's right. Here's the headline again. Korea's national health insurance deficit reached a 10-year high of 11.4 trillion won in 2024, remaining in the red since 2015. Let's move on to the second headline.
The death toll from a powerful explosion at Iran's biggest port of Bandar Abbas has risen to at least 40, with more than 1,200 people injured, according to state media.
이란 최대 규모의 항구 반다르 아바스에서 발생한 강력한 폭발 사고의 사망자 수가 최소 40명까지 늘었으며 부상자도 1,200명 이상이 나왔다고 이란 국영 언론이 보도했습니다.
Yeah, this was a shocking disaster on Saturday. They're still not sure of the exact cause of it. Some international reports have said that it was linked to the mishandling of solid fuel used for missiles, but Iran has denied that. However, the suspicion is it was due to chemicals that were being handled. It is Iran's biggest container hub. It's where all the shipping comes in and out.
Right.
It's also happening at a very tense time because Iran was holding a third round of nuclear talks with the US and Oman when it happened. And so with everything that's going on in the Middle East, I think everybody is on high alert for whatever may happen. And, we'll see as the story unfolds, but certainly it's a disaster for those living in Bandar Abbas and for those who've lost loved ones.
Absolutely. Let's look at the term toll.
Yes. Now, this toll, when we're using it in the news, it's usually going to be a death toll, which means the number of dead, the number of people who died. When we talk about the toll of something, it's the damage from it or the effect of it in a negative sense. However, commuters every day may well be paying a toll. If you happen to go on the motorway and you go through a toll gate, well, you'll be paying a toll so you can use that road.
그래요. 이렇게 의미가 다양한데 TOLL, toll이라는 게 아마 톨게이트에서 제일 많이 들어보셨을 것 같아요. 그때의 톨은 요금이라는 뜻입니다. 그래서 톨게이트 지나면서 우리가 이제 요금을 일정 부분 내게 되죠. 자, 그런 톨 말고 이런 뉴스 재난 소식이라든지 사고가 일어났을 때 여러 피해 소식을 이제 톨이라는 단어를 통해서 이제 집계된 뭐 부상자라든지 아니면 사망자 얘기할 때 톨을 쓰거든요. 그러니까 이 TOLL의 의미를 그러니까 희생자 수, 사망자 수라고 해석을 할 수 있는 거예요. 이 경우도 바로 그렇습니다. 뭐라고 했냐면은 the death toll이라고 했죠. 보통 이렇게 death 하고 같이 많이 쓰는데 그러면 사망자 수가 되겠습니다.
Yeah. The other time we'll hear toll used will be someone talking about something taking a toll on them, meaning it has a bad effect. So generally speaking, it's going to be negative. Either you're paying money or you're paying some sort of price for whatever has happened.
맞아요. 그래서 it takes a toll on someone. That took a toll on me. 이런 식으로 말하면은 그게 나한테 굉장히 좀 힘든 일로 다가왔다. 그로 인해서 내가 너무 지금 많이 좀 지쳐 있다든지 너무 고생을 많이 했다든지 좀 무리였다. 이런 의미를 다 담고 있다고 볼 수 있습니다. 자, 그런 의미도 따로 있다는 거 참고만 하시고요. What about state media?
Well, state meaning government, and media is going to be TV or radio or maybe newspaper, means it's an organization, a media organization that's run by the government, controlled by the government.
Yes.
For example, the BBC in the UK, I don't think we'd quite call that state media because the government is hands-off. It may pay for it, but it does not control the content. Whereas in Iran, their news broadcaster that we're talking about here is run and controlled by the government.
네. It's run by the government, you just said there. 그래서 운영하다라는 run이 들어가서 원래는 state run media예요. 국가에서 운영하는 미디어, 국영 언론인데 이거를 그냥 줄여서 state media라고 하죠. 자, 그럼 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. The death toll from a powerful explosion at Iran's biggest port of Bandar Abbas has risen to at least 40, with more than 1,200 people injured, according to state media.
Troops from India and Pakistan have fired small arms along Kashmir's line of control as tensions grow following a deadly militant attack on tourists in the Indian-administered section of the contested region.
카슈미르의 실질 통제선을 따라 인도와 파키스탄 간 소규모 교전이 발생했습니다. 이는 분쟁 지역인 카슈미르 내 인도 통치구역에서 관광객을 상대로 한 총기 테러로 사망자가 나오는 등 긴장이 고조되던 가운데 벌어진 일입니다. Tell us more.
Well, this is a hot spot for tension between India and Pakistan because, they both claim Kashmir as theirs. And it was split between them when they got independence in 1947. However, they both claim that it belongs to them. And so this line of control has always been somewhere where people watch very closely what might happen. So here we had Pakistani troops supposedly fired unprovoked, according to India.
Okay.
However, Islamabad is saying that it's not their fault. They're rejecting any sense of cross-border terrorism. The issue is that there was that deadly attack on the tourists that killed 26 people. So tensions are very, very high because it was one of the worst terrorist attacks on civilians in years in that region. And we'll see what will happen in the future. But certainly tensions are up between Pakistan and India.
그렇습니다. 자, 여기서 근데 they fired small arms. 뭘 발사했다는 건가요?
Yeah, so here, don't get confused. Small children have small arms, but they don't have this kind of small arms. Here, the small arms we're talking about are weapons. And these are literally small. So guns, pistols, rifles, not tanks, not missiles, but the smaller weapons.
그러니까 여기서 ARMS, arms라는 것은요, 무기라는 의미를 가지고 있습니다. 팔이 아니고요. 스펠링은 팔이랑 똑같지만 armor랑 같은 어원을 가지고 있는 무기. 구체적으로는 이제 화기가 되겠죠. 작은 거니까 소총이나 권총 이런 것들을 얘기하고 있습니다. Small arms. 그 다음에 이제 contested라는 표현을 보고 싶은데 if something is contested, a region, for example,
Yeah,
what
then
does that mean?
people are arguing over it. There is a dispute about it. If it's a region, like in this case, it's who it belongs to. It could be an election as to who was the winner. We can contest anything where there could have been a different result, where there are two sides fighting in some way.
그래요. 어떤 지역이 분쟁거리가 된다 이런 의미가 있어서 분쟁 지역을 영어로 contested region이라고 합니다. 다시 한번 제가 읽어볼게요. Troops from India and Pakistan have fired small arms along Kashmir's line of control as tensions grow following a deadly militant attack on tourists in the Indian-administered section of the contested region. Let's move on to the next headline.
A growing reluctance to be listed in the Michelin Guide is emerging in some European restaurants, with a number of establishments voluntarily returning their stars.
일부 유럽 식당들 사이에서 미쉐린 가이드에 등재되는 것을 꺼리는 분위기가 확산되면서 이곳에서 받은 별점을 자발적으로 반납하는 식당이 늘고 있다는 소식입니다. Ooh, okay. So not everyone wants to have a Michelin star.
No, they don't. And for those chefs who are refusing their stars or asking for stars to be removed, it seems to be all about diners expecting fussy food or it being a formal atmosphere, not wanting to be labelled as a particular style of restaurant, just wanting to be their own.
Yeah.
So, for example, we had Giglio, an Italian restaurant in Lucca, asked for its star to be removed. Last year in France, there was one chef who ran a restaurant at a ski resort in Megève who banned Michelin inspectors, said they could not come into his restaurant.
Right.
Though the chef has had dealings with the guide before. But yeah, there's a lot of pressure. If you get a star, there's a lot of pressure to keep your star and to get another one. And there's been criticism over the years about Michelin and about the way that it gives out stars.
Yeah.
Also, there's been suspicions about AI being used to write some of its online
Reviews.
content.
Yeah,
Yes. So Michelin has always had an interesting relationship with chefs, but it seems at the moment there are quite a few who are rebelling and saying, we just want to be what we are. We don't need a star.
네. 우리말로 아까 헤드라인 말할 때 이런 미슐린 스타를 좀 꺼리는 분위기다라고 했잖아요. 그런 꺼림을 영어로 reluctance라고 하는군요.
I don't know if I really want to explain this to you, Sue.
Are you reluctant to explain?
Well, can you sense my reluctance?
I can.
Yeah, I just don't like this word, and so I'm not going to explain it to you. I refuse.
설명하기를 지금 꺼린다고 선생님 말씀하시네요.
Yeah, because if there is a reluctance, it means we are unwilling or we do not want to do or to be somewhere. Whatever it is, we don't want a part of it. It doesn't mean that we won't do it, but we don't want to do it.
그래요. reluctance가 명사형이고 그다음에 I am reluctant 이렇게
Yeah.
문장 속에서 쓸 수 있습니다. Now, when we're talking about these 식당들, 가게들, we can use the term establishment.
Yes. So here, the establishments is a synonym for restaurants, bistros, bars, cafes, whichever they are that get a star. Establishments is the very general term, just meaning a business.
Yeah.
So when you can't categorize everything into one particular slot, because not all of them will be, in quotation marks, restaurants.
That's right.
There'll be bistros or other styles of eateries. We can use this term. So the establishments in the town centre have all agreed to offer free parking for visitors. The one interesting thing is when we use it as the singular, the establishment, that's a way of talking about the government or whoever is in power.
아하. 자, establishment라는 단어가 이렇게 영업소라는 의미를 가지고 있는데 보통은 맥락에 따라서 이게 뭐 식당이 될 수도 있고 뭐 옷 가게가 될 수도 있고 그 이제 맥락에 맞게 어떤 가게들을 얘기하느냐에 따라서 의미가 조금 변할 수 있어요. 근데 여기서는 미슐린 스타 얘기 나왔고 그다음에 뭐 레스토랑이라는 단어도 나왔죠. 그러니까 당연히 establishment도 식당들이라는 의미로 해석을 하면 되겠는데 레스토랑은 좀 고급스러운 느낌이 있어서 모든 식당이 다 고급 식당은 아니잖아요.
Yeah.
그렇죠. 구멍가게도 있고 뭐 다 굉장히 다양하죠.
Exactly. In France, you have restaurants, but you also have bistros,
Yeah.
which are a more casual place. In the UK, we have gastropubs, which are not officially restaurants; they're pubs. So yes, establishments is a good term to use here.
맞아요. 그래서 establishment 써도 되고 아니면 좀 더 쉬운 말로 아까 폴 선생님이 쓰셨는데 캐치하신 분들도 계실 거예요. 눈치 빠르신 분들. eatery라는 단어가 있어요.
네.
E-A-T-E-R-Y.
Yes,
eatery.
and the plural is IES.
eateries 이렇게 쓸 수도 있는데 이것도 역시 그냥 식당이라고 우리말로는 그냥 해석하면 돼요. 근데 레스토랑보다는 좀 더 캐주얼하고 광범위한 느낌입니다. 자, 다시 한번 제가 읽어볼게요. A growing reluctance to be listed in the Michelin Guide is emerging in some European restaurants, with a number of establishments voluntarily returning their stars. Okay, let's move on to the final headline.
A letter written by a Titanic passenger days before the ship sank has been sold at auction to an anonymous buyer for a record-breaking 300,000 British pounds.
타이타닉호가 침몰하기 며칠 전에 한 승객이 쓴 편지가 경매에서 익명의 구매자에게 30만 파운드, 우리 돈으로 약 5억 7천만 원이라는 기록적인 가격에 낙찰됐습니다. Wow. Tell us more.
So the sum is a big amount. It's 5 times higher than they thought it would get, that it would fetch. They were hoping for £60,000, went for 300,000, but that's not the most interesting thing about it.
It's the letter itself.
The letter itself, Colonel Archibald Gracie wrote this letter on the 10th of April 1912. That was the day he got on the Titanic in Southampton, 5 days before it hit the iceberg and sank. The thing is, did he know what was going to happen? Because in the letter he says, I will await my journey's end before passing judgment on the fine ship. And then the fine ship, well, met a different kind of end. It's almost like he had prophesized that something bad was going to happen. Of course, he didn't really, but it's really curious, that choice of words, now that we look back, in hindsight, they seem, well, eerily appropriate.
이 훌륭한 선박에 대한 평가를 내리기 전에 내 여정의 끝을 기다리겠다. 뭐 이렇게 번역을 할 수 있을 것 같은데 I will await my journey's end before passing judgment on the fine ship. 이렇게 쓴 편지였어요. 근데 물론 이게 어떻게 끝날지 당연히 몰랐겠지만서도 이런 뭐 내 여정의 끝 이런 표현이 들어갔다는 게 참 예견을 했나 뭐 이런 뭐 지금에 와서야 우리가 하는 얘기입니다만 그 편지가 이렇게 큰 돈에 낙찰이 됐다는 소식입니다. 낙찰이 되다, 경매에서 팔리다. You could just say it sold at auction or
Yes.
it was sold at auction.
Yeah.
And
Or it
that's the
was
expression.
auctioned.
It was auctioned, yeah.
Or it was auctioned off.
Or it went under the hammer. And that's actually the auctioning process
No,
itself, right?
yes, but
Yeah.
but you say it went under the hammer and fetched however much money.
Fetched,
So
yes.
as long as you qualify it with an amount of money, you can use that as well. And it all means that there was someone standing at the front of a room saying, how much will you pay for this? And lots of different people were saying, I will pay this much. No, I will pay more. I will pay more. And the highest bidder won the auction.
네, 그렇습니다. 사실 비동사 빼고 써도 돼요. 그래서 this letter sold at auction이라고 해도 얼마에 낙찰됐다. 이런 의미인데 이제 비동사가 지금 들어가 있습니다. 뭐 이렇게도 쓸 수 있어요. 그 다음에는 또 다른 표현 조금 전에 언급한 it fetched 얼마.
네.
근데 이제 fetch라는 것은 얼마에 팔렸다라는 의미만 가지고 있기 때문에 경매라는 걸 살리기 위해서 앞에다가 it went under the hammer and fetched 얼마 하면 되겠습니다. Who bought it?
An anonymous buyer. which means we don't actually know who. Because if you're anonymous, nobody knows who you are.
That's right.
You are either just a mystery or you've chosen not to reveal your identity. You know, I sometimes you go online, you see anonymous messages from people and you probably just want to ignore them because if you don't know their name, well, you don't know them.
익명 anonymous and 익명 구매자 anonymous buyer가 되겠습니다. I remember when I was younger, I loved reading poetry and I thought, who is this poet called Anon? It's really good. He or she, I don't know their gender, but they've written so many great poems.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, I really like to learn more about Anon. And then I learnt, actually, it's not a
No, it's
person.
anonymous. I once met a lovely rat who refused to tell me his name. He was Anonymous.
Oh my goodness.
Actually, aside from the pun, just be careful with anon, that
Yeah.
abbreviation, because in Old English, in Shakespearean times, anon without the full stop at the end meant soon. I will see you anon. It doesn't mean I will see you anonymous. It means I will see you
Right.
soon.
오호, 그렇게 또 anon이라는 단어가 셰익스피어 시대에는 다른 의미를 가지고 있었군요. 곧이라는 의미. 근데 이제 시 보면 우리가 작자 미상. 영어로는 ANON 하고 이제 점을 찍어야겠죠?
네.
예, 이게 줄인 거니까. 그렇게도 씁니다. 익명이다 이런 의미죠. 다시 한번 제가 읽어보겠습니다. A letter written by a Titanic passenger days before the ship sank has been sold at auction to an anonymous buyer for a record-breaking 300,000 British pounds. Well, that's it for the headlines with Paul Matthews.
Only about half of businesses in 100 key service sectors closely tied to daily life survive beyond their first 3 years, according to data compiled by the National Tax Service.
국세청 집계 자료에 따르면 실생활과 밀접한 100대 생활업종 사업자가 창업한 뒤 3년간 생존하는 비율이 절반 정도밖에 되지 않는 것으로 나타났습니다. Oh, that's so sort of a 50-50 chance of surviving?
Yeah, it's a really cutthroat market, it seems, for the service sector or the service industry. So they're saying about 58 or 53.8% of businesses in daily life service sectors like salons and grocery stores survived 3 years after opening in 2020. And this is according to the National Tax Service data, which was released on Tuesday. The 1-year survival rate for 2023 was 77.9%, while the 5-year rate dropped to 39.6%, underscoring long-term challenges for these small businesses, especially for the service sector. Hair salons had the highest 3-year survival rate at 73.4%, followed by guest houses at 73.1%. In contrast, online retail was 45.7%, and fast food restaurants at 46.8% had the lowest survival rates.
쉽게 말해서 자영업자가 3년을 버티기가 굉장히 힘들다.
Yeah.
절반 정도밖에는 3년을 버티지 못한다. 이런 얘기 같아요. 지금 이제 핵심 서비스 업종의 종사자들이 그렇다라는 얘기인데
Yeah.
좀 전에 얘기했던 그
about
살론,
hair salons,
살론, groceries 얘기를 했어요. 미용실 얘기하셨고 그 다음에 그 외에도 요식업 중에서 분식점이나 치킨집, 피자집, 펜션, 학원 이런 것들도 다 포함이 됩니다.
Yeah.
이런 것들을 이제 사업으로 시작하게 될 경우 3년을 버티기가 쉽지 않습니다. 그런데 이런 핵심 서비스 업종을 영어로는 Key Service Sectors라고 하네요.
Right, right. So when something is key, it means that it's really important. And a service sector is the sector of the economy that produces and offers services. It's also called the tertiary sector or the third sector.
okay.
And it includes industries like hospitality, tourism, finance, fitness, beauty, wellness, media and entertainment, and etc.
tertiary라는 단어 참 오랜만에 듣는데 저는 이제 대학 교육을 tertiary education이라고 하는 요 표현은 예전에 많이 들었던 기억이 나는데 이런 업종들도 tertiary
Yeah.
섹터라고
Yeah.
부르는군요.
Yeah.
제3의 업종, 제3의 뭐 산업이 될 수도 있겠고. 자, 다음 표현으로는 it's closely tied to something.
Right. When something is closely tied to something, it means that two things or ideas, or it could be more things, but two or more things or ideas are strongly connected or related, and it implies a direct and significant link between these different items.
네, 밀접하게 연관이 되어 있다. Tied or linked mean the same thing, and closely means it's very close. 아주 가깝게 연결이 되어 있다라는 의미겠죠. 자, 다시 한번 제가 읽어보겠습니다. Only about half of businesses in 100 key service sectors closely tied to daily life survive beyond their first 3 years, according to data compiled by the National Tax Service. Let's move on to the next headline.
A new report by the central bank shows that Korean adults had lower financial literacy in 2024 compared to 2 years earlier, largely due to difficulties understanding how inflation impacts real purchasing power, though the overall score remained above the OECD average.
최근 한국은행이 내놓은 보고서에서 지난해 우리나라 성인들은 인플레이션이 실질 구매력을 떨어뜨린다는 사실에 대한 이해도가 낮아지는 등 금융 이해력이 2년 전보다 떨어진 것으로 나타났으나 경제협력개발기구 OECD 평균보다는 높은 수준을 유지했습니다. Okay, so financial literacy. I mean, if you just talk about literacy, that means your ability to read and understand. But I guess we're talking about understanding the way
Finance.
money works.
Yeah.
Okay, tell us more.
Yeah, so, financial literacy, we talk about media literacy, there's financial literacy. So, financial literacy refers to the knowledge and skills that are necessary to understand your personal finances effectively. So, it would be not just understanding, but also managing your finances. And I was kind of surprised because you would think that as time goes by, we have more access to the media, of course, and we have more access to our phones, and we have more knowledge and we have more information. So you would think that there would have been an increase in more people having access to information about finances and taking care of your finances, but it seems that the scores have dropped.
Yeah.
So this is according to a survey by the Bank of Korea and also the Financial Supervisory Service, and it said that the financial literacy of South Koreans, and this is between the ages of 18 and 79, it came to it came to 65.7 points out of 100, and that was for the year 2024, and that was a slight drop from 66.5 points when they last surveyed this back in 2022. But they said compared to other OECD countries, it was still a little bit higher because the average for OECD countries was 62.7 points. And the financial literacy test, there's a test on this apparently.
Right.
I'm not sure how I would do, but
I don't think I'd score very well either. But,
this test was conducted based on a guideline mapped out by the International Network on Financial Education, which is an OECD-affiliated organization, and it assesses literacy based on 3 different sectors. So you have to have financial knowledge, financial behavior, and your financial attitude as well. And it was a little bit different across different age groups. So people in their 40s who would be, I guess, very active in their careers, they scored the highest with 68.4 points. It was followed by those in their 50s with 67.9 points, and those in their 30s with 67.7 points.
그래요. 지금 얘기하고 있는 이 financial literacy라는 게 금융 이해력이라고 표현이 되고 있어요. 이게 이제 OECD 회원국들을 대상으로 금융 이해력이 어느 정도가 되는지 이제 몇 년마다 한 번씩 체크를 하게 되는데 100점 만점에 65.7이 나왔습니다. 우리나라가 이제 2024년 기준이고요. 사실은 3가지 하위 부류들이 있어요. 하나는 금융 지식, 또 하나는 금융 행위, 또 금융 태도. 요거 3개의 점수를 평균을 내 가지고 그게 65.7이 나왔는데 2년 전에 똑같은 테스트를 했을 때 우리나라가 66.5였거든요. 그래서 조금 떨어졌습니다. 금융 이해력이. 그래서 돈은 열심히 계속 모으고 있는데 돈에 대한 지식과 이해도가 조금 떨어진 것으로 이렇게 해석을 할 수 있겠고 그래도 OECD 평균보다는 높습니다.
Yeah.
평균 OECD 회원국들의 금융 이해력은 62.7이라고 해요. 굉장히 기본적인 것이라고도 볼 수 있지만 여전히 많은 사람들이 이해를 하지 못하는 것 중에 하나 예를 든 게 뭐가 있었냐면은 물가가 오르면은 내 돈의 가치가 떨어진다. 이게 이제 어떤 의미인지 이것도 굉장히 응답자 중에 모르는 사람도 많이 있었다고 합니다.
Yeah.
네, 저도 이 시험을 보면 과연 몇 점 나올까 잘 모르겠어요.
But I mean, also, just because you are financially literate and you have a lot of financial knowledge, it doesn't also translate to spending your money well.
That's right. Yeah. Someone could be pretty wealthy and have very bad or
Spending
low
habits.
Financial
Yeah.
literacy and spending habits.
Yeah.
And then someone could be like really, really well informed when it comes to financial literacy and yet not have much money. So it doesn't really go hand in hand. All right, the next term is overall.
Yes, overall. So when you think of something overall, it means that you're taking everything into account or all in all parts. So you're taking it as a whole.
그래요. 전반적인이라는 의미죠. So the overall score. 여기서 말하는 거는 사실 평균치이지만 전체적으로 다 계산해서 나중에 나왔던 그 숫자, 그 overall score가 OECD의 평균보다는 우리나라가 높았다. 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. A new report by the central bank shows that Korean adults had lower financial literacy in 2024 compared to 2 years earlier, largely due to difficulties understanding how inflation impacts real purchasing power, though the overall score remained above the OECD average.
Power has been largely restored in Spain, and substations in Portugal are gradually coming back online following Monday's unprecedented mass blackouts, which caused widespread disruption and left Spain under a state of emergency.
지난 월요일 광범위한 혼란과 함께 스페인의 비상사태를 불러왔던 전례 없는 대규모 정전 사태 이후 스페인은 현재 전력이 대부분 복구됐고 포르투갈 내 변전소들도 점차 가동에 들어가고 있는 것으로 알려졌습니다. I watched some footage because there was a tennis match going on at the time, and all of a sudden, one of the players was doing an interview, and then all the lights go out in the back, the mic goes off, everything just goes off, and she's looking around going, what's happening?
Yeah.
And that was the start of this massive blackout. Yeah, so tell us more.
So what we do know so far is that they were able to restore electricity thanks to connections with France and Morocco. But they say that the sudden crash of the power grid has left authorities searching for its cause. Spain's prime minister has addressed the nation and said that almost 11 hours after the nation has grounded to a halt, government experts are still trying to determine what has happened.
Oh, so they don't know yet.
Yeah. So the Spanish power company Red Electrica has ruled out a cyber attack as the cause of the mass blackouts that left millions of people without power. Electric grid suffered 2 disconnection events. Systems recovered from the first, but the second triggered the power cuts in Spain and Portugal with no indication of human error. So they do say that power has now been fully restored in Spain and Portugal, but travel disruptions are continuing. They say that it's the second serious European power outage in less than 6 weeks after a March 20th fire shut down Heathrow Airport, and I'm sure
Right.
you've heard about that.
Yeah.
And it came as authorities across Europe they're guarding against sabotage backed by Russia.
그래요. 얼마 전에 런던 히스로 공항 근처에서 화재가 발생하면서 공항 정전 사태가 일어나고 그다음에 공항이 한동안 폐쇄가 됐었죠. 그런데 이제 이번에 스페인의 정전 사태는 조금 다른데 일단은 월요일 점심때쯤이었습니다. 그때부터 갑자기 대규모 정전이 일어나서 지하철 엘리베이터에 갇힌 사람은 물론이고 도로에 그 트래픽 라이트가 다 고장이 나버리니까 엄청난 혼란이 빚어졌었고요. 네, 이게 꽤 오랫동안 지속이 됐지만 한 10시간, 11시간 정도 있다가 어느 정도는 지금 전력이 복구됐다고 합니다. 아직 원인은 정확하게 밝혀지지는 않았지만 해킹에 의한 것으로 이렇게 보여집니다. 누구의 소행이었는지까지는 아직 지금 밝히는 중이니까 나오진 않았지만 여러 가지 추측들만 지금까지는 있는 상황이에요. Now this was unprecedented, meaning it's never happened before,
Yeah.
not at this scale. 이런 정도의 이제 정전이 스페인과 포르투갈에서 일어나지 않았었죠. 그래서 전례가 없다, unprecedented라고 하고 그 다음에 이제 대규모 정전, 영어로 뭐라고 하나요?
Yeah, a blackout is basically a power outage or a disruption in the supply of electricity. And when we say mass blackout, it means that it's happened in a large scale or it has affected a large number of people at the same time.
Exactly. Mass, M-A-S-S, 이게 대규모라는 뜻이 있고 blackout 한 단어가 바로 정전입니다. 물론 이제 얼마 전에 우리가 이제 Pope Francis의 funeral mass, funeral mass라는 표현에서도 mass를 썼는데 그때의 mass는
That's different.
미사라는 뜻이 있어서 MASS 명사 형태일 때 특히 천주교에서는 미사, 그다음에 MASS 형용사일 때 우리 일반적으로는 그냥 대규모라는 의미가 되겠습니다. Right. And a widespread disruption.
Right. A widespread disruption is a situation where an event or a system or maybe a process is interrupted in many places or affects a large number of people or things, preventing them from continuing or operating normally.
그렇죠. 자, widespread disruption, 광범위한 분열이라고 볼 수 있겠네요. widespread나 mass나 좀 비슷해요, 느낌이. disruption은 방해받는 거니까 그런 혼란을 얘기하기도 합니다. 자, 다시 한번 제가 읽어볼게요. Power has been largely restored in Spain, and substations in Portugal are gradually coming back online following Monday's unprecedented mass blackouts, which caused widespread disruption and left Spain under a state of emergency. Let's move on to the next headline.
South Korean ballerino Jeon Min-chul has won the top prize at the 2025 Youth America Grand Prix in Tampa, Florida, earning recognition as the most outstanding performer across all divisions and age groups.
발레리노 전민철이 미국 플로리다주 템파에서 열린 올해 Youth America Grand Prix에서 모든 연령대와 부문을 통틀어 최고의 실력을 선보인 참가자에게 주어지는 대회 최고상인 대상을 수상했습니다. 와, 너무 멋있어요.
Wonderful, wonderful news, right? So he's 20 years old. He claimed the top prize at the 2025 Youth America Grand Prix, winning the senior men's division.
Yeah.
He performed Albrecht's variation from Giselle and became the 5th Korean dancer to win the prestigious grand prize. Jeon's a student at the Korea National University of Arts. He's preparing to join the Mariinsky Ballet in Russia.
Right.
His classmates also achieved notable success with Song Jae-seung and So Ha-eun winning first place in the pas de deux category.
네. 지금 현재 한예종에 재학 중이고 20살인 전민철 발레리노가 이제 러시아의 마린스키 발레단 입단을 앞두고 있다고 합니다. 우리나라에게도 어떻게 보면은 그 앞으로 갈 러시아의 그 발레단에게도 큰 영광인 것 같아요.
Yeah.
표현을 좀 보겠습니다. He earned recognition.
Yes. When you earn recognition for something, it means you've gained acknowledgement, appreciation, or it could be like an award or reward for something that you've accomplished. So in this case, he's being recognized for his skills as a dancer or performer, and this recognition came in the form of the grand prize or the award at this competition.
그래요. 사실 grand prize 랑 Grand Prix랑 같은 말인데 이제 대회에 따라서 상황에 따라서 어떤 단어를 쓰느냐가 좀 달라지죠. earning recognition이 그러니까 인정을 받다, 인정을 받을 만한 그런 이제 실력을 발휘했다 이렇게 볼 수도 있겠고요. And across all divisions and age groups?
Right. So you might have heard of divisions when we talk about sports. A division is basically a number of teams or competitions grouped together in a sport for competitive purposes.
Sure.
So it's kind of divided it depends on the characteristics, as in like the ability or size or geographic location. So they have like the men's division or the women's division.
Yeah.
So here, if you are being awarded this prize across all divisions and age groups, it means that you were the top of the top, the creme of the creme. You were number one in all different among even the men and the women and in all of the age groups.
Divisions는 부문이고요. age group는 연령대 또는 연령층이 되겠는데 모든 부문과 연령대를 통틀어서라는 뜻으로 across all of them, across all divisions and age groups. 그래서 그 다 통틀어서 최고의 실력을 인정받아서 대상, grand prize or grand prix를 받게 됐습니다. Let me read the headline again. South Korean ballerino Jeon Min-chul has won the top prize at the 2025 Youth America Grand Prix in Tampa, Florida, earning recognition as the most outstanding performer across all divisions and age groups. Here's our final headline.
A flight heading to Phuket International Airport in Thailand had to delay its landing and circle the runway after a waterspout formed in the sea near the airport.
태국 푸켓 국제공항으로 향하던 비행기가 공항 인근 바다에 형성된 용오름으로 인해 공중을 선회하면서 착륙이 지연되는 일이 발생했습니다. Tell us more.
Yeah, so this flight to Phuket experienced a dramatic delay when a water spout formed near the runway, forcing the plane to circle for about 30 minutes before safely landing. The passengers actually included the Phuket governor, and they witnessed this rare phenomenon as torrential rain and strong winds set in. So the pilot had to abort the initial landing due to unsafe conditions, and they had to wait until the weather improved. The incident was captured on video and it was shared widely on social media. Waterspouts, they are pretty common in coastal areas, but it's pretty rare to be able to encounter this sort of incident during like mid-flight.
저도 그 영상을 봤는데요. 이게 용오름이라는 게 마치 물에서 그 이무기가
Yes.
용이 되기 위해서
Yeah.
하늘로 올라가는 것 같다. 그래서 용오름이라고 부르는 거지만 이제 자연 현상이고 제가 볼 때는 어떤 느낌이었냐면은 하늘 구름들이 물을 바다에다가 끈을 하나 매달아 가지고 이 끈을 여기저기 이렇게 끌고 다니는 것 같은 그런 모습도 살짝 연상이 될 정도로 상당히 놀라운 모습이거든요. 근데 이게 이제 공항 인근에서 이 용오름이 발생을 하다 보니 한 30분 정도 상공에서 착륙을 하지 못하고 공중 선회를 하다가 이제 마침내 이제 안전하게 착륙을 했다고 합니다. They had to circle the air for quite some time.
Yeah, they had to circle something. So when you circle something, it means that you are kind of moving around
Right.
something. You're moving all the way around. It could be someone or something. And usually you use this expression when you're not just doing it once. You're doing it around. So we can also use the word pacing when you pace around something, but
Yeah.
circle around something. You can use it literally when you're just going around somewhere.
그래요. 동사입니다. 그래서 빙빙 돌다, 선회하다라는 의미고 실제로 이 폭풍의 일종인 용오름이 잦아들 때까지 활주로 인근 공중에서 계속 선회를 30분 동안 할 수밖에 없었어요. 빙빙 도는 거죠. What's a water spout?
Yes, a water spout is a rotating column of water and spray which is formed by a whirlwind occurring over the sea or other body of water.
네. 이게 바로 용오름입니다. water spout라고 하면은 물이 솟아오른다라는 느낌이 영어 단어 안에 들어 있는데요. 실제로 이렇게 뭐 물 기둥이라고도 생각하시면 될 것 같아요. 자, 다시 한번 제가 읽어보겠습니다. A flight heading to Phuket International Airport in Thailand had to delay its landing and circle the runway after a waterspout formed in the sea near the airport. Well, that's it for the headlines this morning.
Credit, debit, and prepaid card spending in the first quarter rose 3.3% year on year to just over 300 trillion won, according to data published by the Credit Finance Association of Korea.
여신금융협회 발표에 따르면 올해 국내 1분기 전체 카드 승인 금액이 전년 대비 3.3% 늘어나면서 300조 원을 넘긴 것으로 나타났습니다. Alright, let's talk about card spending in Q1 this year.
Yeah, so it's going up ever so much.
Yeah.
Now, the key number they did say is 3.3%. It's gone up compared to a year ago. However, you have to add a caveat here that it's the corporate cards that have gone up the most. So
Yes.
spending with corporate cards have gone up 8.8%, while individual, cards, people like you and myself, it's actually only gone up 2.2%.
Right.
And there's a lot more of those people than these corporate cards that are being used.
네, corporate card 그러면은 법인 카드예요. 그래서 법인 중심의 그런 지출이 많이 증가해서 전반적으로 올해 1분기에 카드 승인 금액이 3.3% 올랐습니다. And when we talk about this happening year on year, we're talking about this happening compared to a year ago?
Basically, yeah. If we
Okay,
look at
yeah.
the numbers from a year ago, year on year, then looking back on a consecutive year. So the
Right.
year prior, in comparison to that, or from the time span of from there until now, you're usually looking at a time period of something like that.
Yeah. You could say compared to a year ago, compared to the year prior, or, there are many ways of saying it, but year on year is just one short way of saying 작년에 비해서 전년 대비. 보통 이제 year hyphen on hyphen year 이렇게 이어서 씁니다. 그래서 전년 대비라는 의미로 경제 뉴스에서 많이 나오고 여러 가지 카드가 언급이 됐는데 크레딧 카드는 우리가 잘 아는 신용카드, 그 다음에 prepaid 카드는 선불 카드. 그럼 데비트 카드는 뭘까요?
So a debit card is the card that is connected to your bank account. So this is cash that you have at the ready in your account. And when you pay with a debit card, then that amount is removed immediately in real time from your bank account. So
Right.
if you do not have that amount in your bank account, then your card would be rejected. Whereas for a credit card, it's money that you're spending now, but you actually pay later,
Yeah.
within a month or so later.
That's right. 자, 데비트 카드가 바로 직불카드, 체크카드를 얘기합니다. 우리가 쓰면서 즉시 통장에서 돈이 나가죠. That's a debit card. 그리고 한 달 후에 우리가 돈을 내는 너무나 익숙하신 이 신용카드는 credit card.
One last thing I do want to quickly mention before we move on is with year on year,
Yeah.
you will often hear it as well as year over year.
Sure,
So
sure.
just wanted to quickly mention that there is that version of it as
Yes.
well that you will hear it and you can use it that way as well. Year over year on year. It's pretty much the same thing.
맞아요. 특히 경제학에서는 year over year라는 표현을 쓰고 이걸 줄여가지고 YOY라고도 쓰기도 해요. 자, 그럼 다시 한번 제가 읽어보겠습니다. Credit, debit, and prepaid card spending in the first quarter rose 3.3% year on year to just over 300 trillion won, according to data published by the Credit Finance Association of Korea. Let's move on to the next headline.
Monthly rental contracts now account for nearly 65% of all new housing leases in Seoul, hitting a record high as the traditional lump sum rental system, or 전세, continues to decline.
서울에서 신규 체결된 주택 임대 계약 내용을 조사한 결과 전통적인 일시불 임대 방식인 전세가 계속 감소하면서 월세 비중이 65%에 육박해 역대 최고를 기록했습니다. 이 헤드라인을 우리말로 들으시는 분들은 굳이 이 전세를 이렇게 설명을 해야 되나 하실 수 있어요. 왜냐하면은 한국인이라면은 다 전세가 뭔지 아니까.
Yeah.
그렇지만 사실 우리가 영어 헤드라인을 우선적으로 얘기를 하고 있는데 영어에서는 이 전세 시스템이 없어요. 어디에도 전세가 없습니다. 그러다 보니까 전세가 뭔지 친절하게 이렇게 설명을 해줘야 돼요. It's a traditional lump sum, 한 번에 다 내, 일시불이다. Lump sum rental system이라고 하면서 전세라고 얘기를 했죠.
Yes.
So tell us more.
Yeah, so there were 233,958 residential lease contracts between January and March of this year. So in the first quarter of the year, almost 250,000 contracts were signed. And of those, 151,000, roughly 64%, were of the monthly rental agreements rather than the 전세. So it is rising in terms of people's preferences of that compared to the years before. And I think a lot of it is being accredited to the 전세 fraud, of course, which happened back in 2022. 40,000 cases of 전세 fraud happened within the last 3 years. So perhaps people are turned off from 전세 because of that.
All right, let's look at the term a housing lease.
A housing lease is simply an agreement that you're going to pay a certain monthly fee in order to reside in the place that you're living. And a lease agreement is usually something that is somewhat long term. So it's not just like month by month, but usually we're talking about a contract that will go for at least a year and quite often more than that.
임대하는 것을 leasing이라고 합니다. L-E-A-S-E 아니면 L-E-A-S-I-N-G. housing이라는 게 주택과 관련됐다라는 의미가 있어서 주택 임대차를 여기서 이제 housing lease라고 표현할 수 있을 것 같고요.
We do often hear about leasing a car as well. So instead, some people will purchase a car, but some people, if you're leasing a car, then you're agreeing to pay a certain amount for a certain period of time. It's usually a 3-year lease or a 5-year lease. And then after that 3 or 5 years is done, then you can pay a certain amount to purchase the car, or you can just walk away from the agreement. They keep the car and you've only paid the amount. Usually people on business deals will do that. And one other way that I'll talk about the word lease that you'll hear every now and then is sometimes you'll hear someone say, oh, I found a new lease on life. So sort of like a different outlook on life or something that's different, that's changed within my life. And I'm kind of having a new attitude towards my life going forward. I have a new lease on life.
인생에 대한 태도가 생각이 요즘에 좀 바뀌었어 라고 할 때 I have this new lease on life 이렇게 표현을 할 수 있군요. 네. 자, 그 다음에 hit a record high 볼까요?
Yeah, a record high is a record, meaning that it's something that's never been done before, or it's something that's better or greater than anything that has come before it. So in this particular case, we're talking about the number of leases that are now monthly leases compared to 전세. So 전세 was always popular before, but now it's becoming more and more common to the highest possible number, or a number that have never happened before when it comes to monthly rent. So it's a record high now. It's something that's worth noting because it's never happened before.
네, 최고치를 기록하는 거를 hit a record high라고 할 수 있는데요. 기록적인 높은 수치, record high, 그것을 hit, 달성하다 이런 의미입니다.
We often hear about this in the news when it comes to things like the weather. A record high might be the highest temperature that we've had this year or over the last 10 years, a record high in the last century, whatever it might be. But you'll often have a date that's associated, the high since this period. But we're talking about something that is unusual.
Absolutely. 그리고 앞서도 언급드렸지만 lump sum이라는 표현이 바로 일시불이고요. 할부는 영어로 installments라고 합니다. 그래서 만약에 3개월 할부로 하고 싶다. I'd like to pay in 3-month installments. 이렇게 표현을 할 수 있고요. No, sorry, you have to pay the lump sum. 일시불로 계산하셔야 돼요. 이렇게 표현할 수도 있습니다. 자, 다시 한번 제가 읽어볼게요. Monthly rental contracts now account for nearly 65% of all new housing leases in Seoul, hitting a record high as the traditional lump sum rental system, or 전세, continues to decline.
The animation, The King of Kings, has become the highest grossing South Korean film ever in the United States, earning more than $54 million at the U.S. box office since its April 11th release and surpassing the previous record set by Bong Joon-ho's 2019 Oscar-winning film, Parasite.
애니메이션 영화 킹 오브 킹스가 지난 4월 11일 미국 개봉 후 박스오피스에서 5,400만 달러를 벌어들이며 봉준호 감독의 아카데미상 수상작인 기생충을 꺾고 미국에서 가장 흥행한 한국 영화에 등극했습니다. Okay, well, let's talk about this hugely popular movie in America right now.
Yeah, when I first saw this, I was like, what? Like some movie that I've never heard of has done better than Parasite. And it's an animation film of the Christian story. So
Yeah.
the birth and resurrection of Jesus. And it's got some very significant Hollywood actors involved.
Yes.
Pierce Brosnan, Oscar Isaac, and Uma Thurman, to name a few. So, yeah, it's done very, very well with the backing of some big studios from North America as well, along with Mofax Studios.
네, 그래요. 이게 이제 한국과 미국이 함께 이렇게 프로듀싱을 한 영화더라고요. 감독은 이제 한국 감독입니다. 장성호 감독이 만든 애니메이션 영화고 아마 생소한 이유가 아직 한국에서 개봉 안 했어요. 7월 말에 한국에서 개봉합니다. 네, 그래서 미국에서 먼저 개봉을 했고 it is an American/Korean film, so they decided to release it first in the States, and it's based on the Charles Dickens novel The Life of Our Lord. So it is a Christian-based story, and it's about Jesus and his life, and it's doing really well in America.
Yeah, I have to admit, the first thing I actually did when I saw that this was this Korean animation, I wanted to see who the voice actors were because I've done some voice acting as well and some animations. I did the voice of Rogi for Tayo as an example in English.
Really?
So I was kind of curious to see if it might have been anybody that I know that was a part of this gig that didn't tell me. So I was kind of like really curious. And then when I saw that it was, like Pierce Brosnan and
그러니까.
Oscar Isaac, I was like,
네.
oh, okay, so this is a really big production,
맞아요.
obviously.
네. 이게 이제 한국 감독 또 극본도 장성호 감독이 다 썼습니다. 그렇긴 하지만 한국과 미국의 공동 그 작업된 그런 영화이다 보니까 목소리 배우들은요 전부 다 헐리우드 배우들이에요.
Yeah.
네, 그러니까 한국 배우들을 쓰지는 않았고 어떤 배우들이 목소리를 냈느냐. Kenneth Branagh, Uma Thurman, Pierce Brosnan, Forrest Whitaker, Ben Kingsley. 다 너무 유명한,
yeah.
너무너무 유명한 배우들이죠.
And
네.
that's the thing these days, because a long time ago, like in a lot of the older animations in the 80s and before that we think of, a lot of the voice actors were people that you'd never heard of.
Yeah.
And then I think after Robin Williams won, I think he won an Oscar for the genie, playing the genie in Aladdin.
Okay.
I think ever since that, which he did amazing at, it's kind of been shifted. So instead of these no-name voice actors that are playing these roles, now it's actually big-name Hollywood actors because they get a bit of a marketing push with
Yeah.
it when people realize, oh, I know that voice behind that.
그렇습니다. 그래서 개봉하자마자 2위, 박스오피스 2위를 할 정도로 뭐 상당히 인기였고, 뭐 잘 아시겠지만 이런 북미권 영어를 사용하는 나라들은 문화적으로 이렇게 기독교가 베이스가 되어 있기 때문에
Yeah.
기본적인 관심이 다 있겠죠.
Of
어떻게
course.
만들었을까? 그래서 I don't think people are even aware in America that this was made by a Korean director.
Very
But-
possible. Yeah, because none of the big names involved
Yeah.
anyways, other than the director.
그러니까요.
Yeah, you would associate
디렉터는
with Korea.
Korean이지만 프로덕션 컴퍼니도 물론 Mofax 컴퍼니라고 Mofax 스튜디오 그래서 Korean 컴퍼니도 있지만 또 캐나다의 월트 디즈니도 같이 했었고 뭐 그래서 여러 지금 나라와 여러 사람들이 함께 한 영화인 것 같아요. 그래도 we can still call it a South Korean movie.
Oh,
because,
absolutely. Yep.
그렇게 보면은 지금까지 미국에서 개봉한 한국 영화 중에 성적이 제일 좋다. Alright, let's have a look at highest grossing.
Highest grossing is an accounting term because we're talking about gross.
Yeah.
And when we're talking about the gross, that's the total income of sales that you've done. So if you have a business, your gross is what the customers have given you. Now, there's also the net, which is what you are left with after you've paid your employees, after you've paid rent, all the materials that you're using. That's what you're left with, how much you've actually earned.
Yeah.
But in terms of the gross, this is how much you've sold. So when we're talking about the highest grossing, this is how many tickets they've sold or how much money they've sold in terms of ticket sales, as opposed to how much they have earned in the end after paying all their expenses.
Exactly. 자, highest grossing이라는 표현이 가장 돈을 많이 번이라는 의미라고 보시면 되겠습니다. 이 gross, gross가 돈 얘기할 때는 수익을 올렸다라는 의미로 쓸 수가 있어요. 또 이제 형용사일 때는 총금액이라는 의미도 있습니다. Now, what about surpassing?
If you surpass something or someone, then you are basically passing them. You're going beyond them, or you're improving upon what they have done before.
Yeah. 그래서 능가하다, 뛰어넘다라는 의미가 되겠습니다. 우리 청취자분들이 the best voice actor is Jason Sam.
No,
네.
I would love to do a role like that, but yeah, not just
Maybe
yet.
in the next movie.
Yeah, next time.
네, 다시 한번 제가 읽어보겠습니다. The animation The King of Kings has become the highest grossing South Korean film ever in the United States, earning more than $54 million in the US box office since its April 11th release and surpassing the previous record set by Bong Joon-ho's 2019 Oscar-winning film Parasite. Let's move on to the next headline.
Nepal will require Everest climbers to have prior experience scaling at least one of the country's 7,000-meter peaks, according to a draft law aimed at reducing overcrowding and enhancing safety.
네. 네팔 정부는 에버레스트의 과밀도를 낮추고 안전을 개선하기 위해 네팔에 있는 7,000m 이상 고봉을 등정한 경험이 있는 산악인만 에버레스트 등반에 나설 수 있도록 하는 법안 초안을 마련했습니다. With all the accidents that we've heard of in the past, I guess now they're saying, unless you're an experienced mountaineer, you cannot climb Mount Everest.
Yeah, and obviously there are a lot of people that want to climb Everest because it is the highest peak in the world, right? It's one of one. So because of that, a lot of people go there. However, there have been a lot of deaths because it's a very unforgiving mountain for several different reasons.
Yeah.
Obviously, the cold being one. Also, because of the elevation, the need for oxygen is different.
Yep.
And there are different levels as well. It's not like you just go to the base of the mountain and climb it to the top in one day. There's different camps that are set up. And there is overcrowding in certain areas because those areas are only so big. But the number of people that want to go there, you know, as I mentioned, it's one of one. So a lot of people are going there and it's becoming overcrowded because of that. And a lot of these people, I suppose, are inexperienced.
Yeah.
And because of that, it's been resulting in unnecessary deaths.
Well, maybe not like completely inexperienced, but not experienced enough to tackle
For
this.
that level.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, I mean, you know, I'm sure there are people that have gone hiking before or have done like
Yeah.
the highest peak of their local mountain, perhaps. But I think it's different when we're
Yeah.
talking about this sort of elevation.
Oh, absolutely. All right. Now you need prior experience, you said.
Yeah, I almost said previous experience because that was the natural thing that,
Yeah.
that I would say
Yeah.
because they pretty much mean the same thing.
can say that, yeah,
So
sure,
if you're
sure.
saying previous experience, prior experience, it means that you've done this before.
맞아요.
Or something similar before.
그렇습니다. 자, 사전 경험, 뭐 경력 이런 것들을 prior experience라고 할 수도 있고 previous experience라고도 할 수 있습니다. 자, 그다음에 overcrowding이 아까 말한 이제 사람들이 너무 많이 몰리는 과밀 현상이겠죠?
Yeah, and overcrowding, I mean, it's just the fact that you have too many people for the amount of space that you have.
Yeah.
Now, it's all relative. As overcrowding in the subway is very different from overcrowding on a mountain like this. It's because there's only so much space for tents and things like that within the area. So
Exactly. Another expression I really liked that you used earlier on was Mount Everest is one of one.
yeah.
Which means it's so unique.
Yes.
There's nothing like it in the world. 그래요. 그럼 다시 한번 제가 읽어보겠습니다. Nepal will require Everest climbers to have prior experience scaling at least one of the country's 7,000-meter peaks, according to a draft law aimed at reducing overcrowding and enhancing safety. Now here's our final headline.
Common chemicals found in everyday plastic products may be associated with cardiovascular disease worldwide, with highest impacts in Asia, the Middle East, and the Pacific, according to a new study.
일상적인 플라스틱 제품에 들어있는 흔한 화학 물질이 전 세계에서 발생한 심장질환 사망 수치와 관련이 있으며 이 수치 중 아시아, 중동, 태평양 지역이 가장 큰 비중을 차지한다는 연구 결과가 나왔습니다. Oh dear, tell us more.
Yeah, in particular, they're talking about plastics that we might use in the microwave as well as in the dishwasher. And it's usually those softer plastics that can be bendable and movable that they talk about. You know, one of the things, there's very few things that I will not eat, but one of them, as an example, is microwavable popcorn because it's got that plastic film inside of the paper bag. And I've heard before that it's not very good for you because of that. And I think that's an example of these plastics that when microwaved or dishwashers are also very, very hot. And if certain plastics are in the dishwasher get overheated, then it can release some of these things called phthalate. And those people are theorizing that can be related to cardiovascular disease.
네, 뉴욕대에서 연구를 진행했고요. 세계 200여 개의 나라와 지역을 대상으로 건강, 환경 데이터를 분석을 해봤더니 우리가 매일매일 쓰는 플라스틱에 들어있는 프탈레이트라고 하는 이 화학 물질이 있는데 이게 심장병을 유발할 수 있다라고 한답니다. 그래서 실제로 연 35만 명 정도가 이것 때문에 사망을 하는 경우도 있다고 하는데요. 상당히 놀라운 수치예요. Right, let's have a look at some words here, starting off with an everyday thing.
Everyday plastic
Everyday
products.
plastic in this case.
Yeah, so we're talking about common things that you would come in contact with through daily routines. So if we're talking about everyday plastic products, it's probably stuff that you would use in your kitchen, like a plastic wrap. It might be the lid of a plastic container. There's all sorts of different things that we use. It might even be, certain utensils, as an example, that might be plastic that you put in your dishwasher, not thinking too much about it, or in the microwave, and then perhaps doing some long-term harm on your body far down the road.
Exactly. When it comes to learning English, you want to be familiar with everyday expressions
Yes.
or terms. 매일매일 사용되는 이라는 뜻의 everyday가 있습니다. 자, 그 다음에는 be associated with something.
If you're associated with something, then you have a relationship with that thing or person. We talk about having associates at work, people that we work with. We have a relationship with those people. We work with those people. So if you're associated with something, then you have a relationship of some sort with them. They might not be a family member, but it's someone that you deal with or see commonly.
네, 무엇과 관련되다. 영어로는 be associated with something or someone이라고 합니다. 또 참고로 심혈관의 의미를 담고 있는 cardiovascular가 있었어요. 다시 한번 제가 읽어볼게요. Common chemicals found in everyday plastic products may be associated with cardiovascular disease worldwide, with highest impacts in Asia, the Middle East, and the Pacific, according to a new study. Well, that's it for the headlines with Jason Lee.